Welcome to the latest edition of the Sick Podcast with Draft Vogel. I'm John Vogel, a host, Mark Jarvis in the wings, and a couple special guests that we have coming on to talk about their process coming up. They got a great draft process ahead of them, and coming from a big school too. We're excited to have them. But first, we got AC, we got Sammy, we got the big guns in the studio today. Hey guys, let's roll.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Draft Vogel.
With the first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. The first pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. With the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft.
The sickest NFL Draft Show. It's gonna be sick.
And the sickest NFL draft show on the planet is brought to you by DraftKings. Make sure that download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the DraftKings code SICKSPORTS and to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL bet. We got the Super Bowl coming up. Pro Bowl props. Those are fun to do, especially with flag football, dodgeball, all those competitions coming up. Get in on the latest NFL action before it's over because the crown is yours. Co-host Mark Jarvis is here with us today. And Jarvis, as we get you loaded up in here, how are you doing, man?
It's that time of year, man.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Say about it. Measurements, craziness, we're just keep going back and forth with all the different stuff. All-Star games starting to get into swing. Senior Bowl is getting into their full swing as well. So it's going to be exciting, man. And I just have to also compliment the fact that you went from a white t-shirt before you came on to now you've gone to the green sweatshirt. It's a midnight green. I feel that. Thank you I feel like you did that for me. So thank you.
I had to look cozy. I got the beard and all that. I got to go ahead and look good.
I had to get rid of it. I know. I had to get rid of it. Sorry. So without any further ado, we got two special guests with us and two special football players, and we had to do them together because it's the only thing that made sense. Guys, let's bring in the Murphy twins. And gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing great. We appreciate y'all having us on tonight.
Absolutely. It was a no-brainer. You guys, I'm pulling up all your information, making sure that we're going to keep this straight. So, Gabriel, you're in the blue.
Yes, sir.
Grayson, you're in the black.
Yes, sir.
So, oh man, see, even their voices, it's like, dang. Is that something that you guys have always struggled with in a locker room where people are always getting you two mixed up? Do you always have to color code what you're doing that day, what you're wearing?
I'd say, towards the beginning, yeah, we get a lot of, which one's which, but kind of towards kind of in the middle, we kind of just tell them to just call us Murph, just call us twins, just, if you don't know which ones is, just call us Murph, and, they kind of just figured out in that standpoint. Yeah, so they'll get our attention with one of those, and then they're at the front, getting to know us and whatever, they'll be able to tell us apart. So I'm saying, I got a slimmer facial structure, and he has a bigger facial structure, so, little things like that. My brother has a scar on his left eye, and I don't have a scar, so they pick up on little cues like that on how to tell us apart.
Okay, that makes sense. So, obviously, we think about twins playing in the NFL. We got there are some special groups duos that come up. I think the most famous one that you think of off the top of your head is Tiki and Rondé Barber. And the difference here is one played offense, one played defense. You guys are both defenders, and so for that aspect, is there something that you guys can kind of feed off each other a little bit? You guys pass information back and forth.
Absolutely. Just being on field with my brother, playing on opposite side, he's on one side, I'm on the other. And on a third down situation, we're about to go get the quarterback, it's always good looking down the line, looking at my brother yeah, we're finna go get this quarterback. And even with all-season training and things like that, he's able to help me on my game, I'm able to help him on his game. So when they ask us who's a better football player or who's better at one thing, I say we're pretty much the same because we both work on our weaknesses and our strengths. So we're both getting better at each category because we're pushing each other in that way.
Is there similar data that you almost get do you guys get into like the advanced data type stuff where they like your bodies are so similar to each other that you're able to like project stuff to each other and be like, hey, this is gonna we can kind of do this.
I mean, we really haven't gotten into the advanced data, but as far as like body wise, like I say, like our measurables and stuff are pretty like the same. I mean, the same weight, same bench, same squat, like same maxes on everything like that. So we're pretty much the same.
Jarvis.
Oh yeah, I mean you were talking about that, and I thought I've watched tape on both you guys, and it was like I was watching mostly the same player. I kept double checking. Like
You can't tell. It's 11 and 12.
Close.
It's like golly.
Has that always been that way, or have you guys kind of gone in spurts where maybe one gets a little bit ahead developmentally and then the other catches up, or has it always kind of been just level all the way throughout your guys' career?
I say it's probably always been level. I mean, we're pretty competitive, within one another, so we can't let one of us outdo the other. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna make us go that much harder to keep up with the person. So, I don't think anyone's ever like jumped ahead or anything like that. But as far as like competing with each other, I feel like we're pretty much always in the same place. Yeah, and going on that note, like with not being able to tell each other, they only got the numbers. We've been hearing that a whole lot since Pee Wee. Like even when we was out there playing running back, like and stuff like that, that people from the stands would be like, "Man, I don't know which one it is. The only way I could tell is because I'm looking at the number." So if we didn't have numbers on, they wouldn't be able to tell who it was.
Have you ever thought about like mid-game just swapping jerseys and see if anybody noticed?
We've always heard that, we've always thought about doing it, but we've just never got to the point where we would do it. Yeah, too competitive. I don't want to get numbers from him. He probably doesn't want to get numbers from me.
Wrong team. Sitting there watching. Oh, I like that one. No, so how did you guys start playing football?
Well, I have an older brother, and my dad, he played, and he actually went off to college, Cisco Junior College, but he was supposed to go to Arkansas, but some things that went down where he wasn't able to. So I say it's probably, always been a part of our lives. We had an older brother that played, and, sports have always been a part of our lives. And we started playing when we were like 5 years old and fell in love with it. Our dad was a high school coach. We used to be the water boy for him when we couldn't play. So we kind of just always been around it. So it's just something we were born to do, I guess.
Interesting. So when you got into, high school, how many different sports were you guys playing?
We're playing pretty much everything. We weren't technically running track, but we'd be out there practicing with track. Basketball, we technically didn't play basketball. We'd be out there running fives, hooping with basketball. We tried wrestling. We pretty much did everything in high school. And then growing up, we played every sport: baseball, soccer, football, or everything.
Jarvis?
Yeah, this question might be coming a little bit out of left field, but one of the things that I've noticed is or not even noticed, but I imagine a lot of people are going to ask you, "Hey, how are you guys similar, right? How are you guys different? What's different between you two guys as twins? Because I got a twin brother, and people are always like, "Oh, you're twins, you must be so alike." And it's like, no, if you knew us, we'd be very, very different. So, what's different between you two guys?
I'd say probably like the foods that we like. I'm a very picky eater. Gabe was pretty much can eat anything. So I'd say that's the biggest glaring difference in us is, we like different kinds of foods, and yeah, I would say that food probably really our only differences. To be honest with you, we're so similar in everything, and we do everything together. So I wouldn't, differences is kind of hard to do, but I would say food for sure.
So that must have been so much fun for your mom.
Yeah.
Like I can see my mom already over there going, I can't make this because he doesn't like it.
Exactly.
Well, one of the things we like to do on here, guys, is we like to get nerdy about football. I think one of the things that we've been able to kind of carve our way into, the podcast scene and with what we do is we talk about evaluating guys and try to get into really nerdy stuff about football, stuff that's more so than just, hey, I watched this guy and he's really good. We like to get into why are you good? Let's get into talking to the details that maybe you would hear in a film room, maybe that you would hear when you're talking player to another player or a coach to a player. That's the kind of stuff that we like to kind of talk about on here. So you guys both have really interesting games to, what you present as prospects. And so I guess my first question in regards to your game and what you bring to the field is as pass rushers. I think that's kind of what everybody is going to look to first. Do you have a plan when you're going into a rep about how you're going to attack the guy? And if so, is there a way that you develop that plan?
Absolutely, we have plans going into it, and I think every good passer has to have a plan going into the rep. So from us, we develop it on film. You know what we're getting from the tackle each week, whether if he's an outside hand puncher, an inside hand puncher, if he keeps his hands low, hands high. You know, it depends on who we're facing that from week to week. So we like to go into there with a plan, like knowing, okay, if he's outside, we're gonna work this type of move. If he's an inside, we're gonna work this type of move. And we always have a plan. We always know who we're going against that week because you got to know your player. You got to know the player you're going against in order to have a successful game. That's how we like to think it. And you have to have moves set up in your head, like, okay, if he's an outside hand puncher, we'll do the cross chop, we'll do a double swipe. If it's an inside hand puncher, we'll probably do a little bull power because he's short on the edge because his outside hand is not punching. So it depends on like who we're going against, what we see on film, and that instance. And another thing to that is, having a plan when you do set up a move is, we're kind of different because when we played at UCLA, we played everywhere on the field. We played the 0, the 2, the 3, the 5, and the 9. So we were outside, inside. So we kind of had to study the tackles and we had to study the guards and the centers because that's what we're going to match up with, especially on pass rush situations. Sometimes we'd be going against the tackle and he'd be doing something. Then we have to watch our film with the center and the guard because we're going to be going against them on film as well. So you have different moves for different people, especially like when you see stuff on film like that.
So what are some of those things that you notice on film that you go into looking when you're studying a tackle, a guard, a center, and to try to exploit?
Well, first you got to look at kind of like their scheme. Are they dish setters? Are they vertical setters? Are they straight backs? Things like that. Once you get their set kind of down and kind of what they do scheme wise, then you can start looking at like their hand punching, their what spot do they like to get at before they start sitting down their set. And things like that. But, mostly you're looking at that outside hand and if they're vertical or they're dish setters. That's the number one thing we look for because that will let you know if you need to go inside, work the outside, work the edge. Yeah. And a lot of guys we went against, is pretty much, edge, work the edge because most people in college really don't dish set. You kind of start seeing dish sets when you get to the NFL. Yeah.
So you got a horizontal inside puncher. How are you going to attack him?
Horizontal inside puncher is a great question. So if he's moving horizontal on his inside puncher, we probably pursue a field, so show speed, and then counter back inside. So cross chop inside, whatever it is, detect his inside hand, beat the inside hand, and you beat the man.
Jarvis, they're ready for Bill Polian, but what you got for him?
I'm just run the line of questioning here. What all do you guys go into when you mentioned you kind of prepare for these guys throughout the week? Hey, this is the type of player we're going up against. Do you like take all your notes together, or you kind of do that independently and then come together and talk about how do you kind of approach the week?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'd say we like to watch film like independently, then come together and like show like what we saw and like how we can mesh what we saw with each other like together. That way we can have a better plan on how do we attack the person. But yeah, that's a great question. Most people like to watch it together, but we kind of like to watch it separately, then come together and watch it separately just so we can see if we're picking up on the same keys. And maybe he can see something that I don't see. And we don't only do that with each other. We do that with most of our teammates as well. Just to make sure they're seeing stuff. Like they may see something that we're not seeing, or I might see something that they're not seeing. So it's always good to have a collaboration on like notes and stuff like that, just so we can see it from different people's IQ and different people's eyes.
I like that because you're almost pulling yourself out. One of the things that we get caught up in on the draft media side of stuff, and I don't know if you guys venture on X, formerly known as Twitter, that much, but people are always talking about groupthink, right? Oh, don't go with the groupthink. But you guys are separating yourself from that in the sense of, as a team, you're trying to find what it is that you guys are picking up on and then coming together with the ideas. I think that's a much more productive way of figuring out how you're going to put this game plan, how you're going to attack these guys. And I think that's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Jarvis? Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there. I was just like, that goes right. Jarvis is super into biases and figuring out how to eliminate them and stuff. Like, if you want to check out what he's got, I mean, this guy's taught me some stuff, so.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of why I was so interested in is the fact that you do pick up on those different things when you do come at it from those different perspectives. Do you guys kind of share a similar mindset as far as the philosophy you bring as a pass rusher? Or do you think there's differences between you two that are notable?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say, early on, because, in college, and in high school, we were kind of more so DBs, middle linebackers. And then when we actually got to college, we started at North Texas. They moved us to pass rushers, so we were kind of quick learning when we got to college. And I feel like we kind of started out as power rushers. Like we always wanted to work like power, bull rush, bull rush, bull rush. Then when we started developing as pass rushers, we started getting like speed rush into it, the cross chop and things of that nature. So I feel like as both we've grown together as pass rushers. I feel like we've gotten confident in the same type of moves because we're always working the same moves together in order to get confident in them. Absolutely.
Do you guys have certain players you try to study together and kind of try to model your game after at all, or?
100%. One of the guys we like to study a lot is Von Miller. We see a lot in his game because, like, a lot of people, like when we work with people, they always talk about our ability to get low change levels and things like that. And Von Miller is exactly like that. He changes his level. He works a good ghost, works a good long one, whatever it is, and he's always changing his level. So we like to modify our game off Von Miller. Khalil Mack's another good one. We like both of the Bosa brothers because they're brothers and we're brothers. Both of the Watt brothers. So we watch a lot of the perennial pass rushers and try to model, take a little bit from each game and put it into our own game.
When you guys moving on to run defense, when you guys are in run defense and you were talking about, gaps and filling those and reading that concept, especially in college right now, you're seeing a lot of RPO type action.
Absolutely.
I think you'll see a lot less of that. Does that excite you? I guess it's part one. Okay, so when you get into run defense and stuff, what is it that you think that you bring to the game to make you valuable run defenders?
Physicality right now. We're gonna set the tone up front. From our perspective, like we on pass rush downs, they wanted the inside. So this year, that was last year. That was like we were playing pass rush from D tackle, nose tackle, 3 tech, whatever it was. So this year we wanted to not only be pass rush inside, we want to play the run inside. So we really took it, we took it upon us, like during the offseason, like we got to get stout. We got to work on our double team technique. We got to work on, our hands, whatever it is, so we can play inside on run. So they're not just coming in on different packages to put us against the pass. So we can be very versatile, multiple inside. So we really honed in on like our run technique inside. We already had it outside, but inside is like they say it's a different game because you're going against, 300-pound guards, whatever it is, and they're sending stuff like that. So we really took, pride in it and, came back with a more physical approach. And, we played a lot inside, whether it be run, pass, and, and flourished in it.
If you had to pick a tech, which one do you like to play the most?
3 tech for sure. And I say 3 tech because you're getting either 1 or 2 blocks. You're getting the man block, you're either getting a double team, or you're getting a pull. So those 3, and you can pretty much tell when the lineman's coming up, what type of block you're about to get. By the way, he's like heavy on his hand. You can see that tackle's eyes if he's about to smash down on you and things like that. And so I think the 3 tech is the easiest position to play, especially when it comes to terms of run. And you love the pass rush on a slower guard because we're pretty quick guys.
To say the least. Jarvis?
Yeah, I was just wondering further into that. You mentioned you kind of get those keys that you can pick up on of, oh, hey, the tackle's going to kind of crash down on me, that sort of thing. Is there any situation you kind of love being in the most where you're like, oh man, I'm gonna tear this situation up? Like this is
100%. I'd probably say third and 1 or 4th and 1. It's gonna be a run play. You got to get physical with the guy in front of you, and I feel like that's when me and Gil first the most when the 3rd and 4th and 1s, because it's an easy shock snatch. You got to get off the block quick, and we're pretty quick. With run. You know what I'm saying? That's a momentum game. That's a momentum shifter right there. If you get a 3rd down stop or a 4th down stop, especially 4th and 1, because it just rips the heart out of them. And another situation I would say is like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. Yeah, you're about to pin your ears back and go rush the quarterback. That's another momentum swing, sacking the quarterback or getting a strip sack.
When you guys went from North Texas to UCLA, this is a 2-part question. What was the biggest difference in terms of physicality? And then what was the biggest difference in what you were being asked to do schematically?
Okay, that's a great question. I would say the biggest difference from moving from North Texas to UCLA was just everybody got a little taller. So like in North Texas, there wasn't too many big bodies down there. But I would say the play, like from North Texas to UCLA, was pretty much the same. It was just there was more bigger people at UCLA, if that makes sense. And then the second part of the question was the second part of the question. In terms of like playing, like learning the defense, we had a pretty good defensive coordinator at North Texas. His name's Coach Bennett, Phil Bennett. You know, he's a defensive coordinator at Baylor, defensive coordinator at Arizona State. So his concepts were kind of, you know, pretty much like I'd say even more confusing than the concepts we were running at UCLA. Even though he had a really good defensive coordinator, Coach Lynn, you know, he's a young guy, but he kind of kept it kind of simple for us. Even though we were still multiple, but I feel like at North Texas we were a little bit more harder on the concepts. It was a little bit harder to learn, I'd say. Not harder to learn, but just a little bit not as simple. You know what I'm saying? More complex, more medical.
Interesting. Okay. Now, training routine wise, you know, you said Grayson, you're the picky eater, right?
Yes, sir.
Making sure I get that straight. So, is there a pregame meal that you guys like to go to?
Alfredo pasta. Yeah, Alfredo pasta. That's 100% the Alfredo pasta. Yep.
Yeah,
no chicken. We don't really like the meat. We don't really like the meat in the pasta. It's just noodles and sauce. You know, throw a little bread in there, and that will do us for the pregame. Absolutely.
Ooh, yeah. There you go. I'm a big Alfredo guy too, so I hear that.
You know, obviously, you guys are pretty in sync. Just listen to your talk. You're pretty close, and kind of. I don't want to say reading each other's minds, but it kind of seems that way. Two questions for you. You know, one, what's the longest you guys have ever been away from each other? And two, you know, a lot of these twins that come into the league end up being on different teams. How are you guys kind of preparing for that if you do end up in different places?
So I'll say the longest we've been apart from each other would probably be like less than a few hours. Like we're always together. And then for the second part of your question, I would say like we're ready for that part in our career. Like moving from North Texas to UCLA, like it was a big turning point in our lives because that was the first time we was really away from our family. You know, like being in Denton, like we're from Dallas kids, and that was only like 45 minutes away. Like moving all the way out to LA, like it was a big culture shock and a big shock to our lives and stuff. A little bit of adversity we had to go through, you know, being away from our family and really just being in the real world as men. So I think we're really prepared for that in our career to like move away from each other. I think not only will he push me, but I know I'm gonna push him when I'm away from him in the league and stuff like that. Like on a Sunday, if I see him, oh man, he got 2 sacks. Like I know I can't go out there and not get 2 sacks or whatever it is, because he's gonna be on my behind, you know, after the game. Like, oh man, I did this. Like you got to do this. So I think we're pretty much prepared for that. You know, we've been waiting our whole lives for this opportunity, and God's blessed us, and we give all the glory to Him. So we're just thankful for this opportunity.
The last question that I got for you guys is, when you guys are going to sit down with NFL teams, you're probably going to, at least at your pro day, you might come in for some top 30 visits. When you get to that point and you start talking with teams, they're going to get a perception of you guys and what you're going to bring into their locker room. So what is that perception that you think you want to create? What is an NFL team getting with you guys?
I think the NFL team is getting is hard workers. You know, someone that's willing to do whatever it takes to win. You know, someone that's going to be in that locker room and be a locker room guy, you know what I'm saying? Be a teammate type guy, you know, a love-oriented type guy in the locker room, someone that can connect with everybody. And I think that's the number one guy. We're not real wah-wah guys. We're not real, you know, talk guys, but, you know, we're like kind of lead by example type of people. And I think, you know, organizations are going to get for sure hardworking and for sure people that love the Lord. Actually speak louder than words, that's what we like to say. So we're going to go in there and prove it with our actions and let everybody follow along. Our work ethic speaks for ourselves. So like you said, you know, we're just going to love our teammates up and then carry them along, man. With our work ethic, we're going out there getting extra work. We're going to bring them along with us. And, you know, just learn. Go in there. We're going to be guys that go in there and learn, soak up everything. And we know we're the best, but we're not going to go in there with that ego and attitude, man. We're going to go in there like, man, we're ready to learn. Because I know a lot of them guys, a lot of them pros and stuff in them rooms, they can teach us a lot of things in our game and get us ready. So we're ready for that environment. And we're just ready to get going, man.
Fantastic, guys. Anything else you got for him, Jarvis?
I think I'm good here.
All right. Good, gentlemen. That was fantastic. Thank you for the time. Man. Absolutely. Stick around for just a second. I'm going to catch you before we let you out. But first, AC, Sammy, let's get out of here.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Draft Vogel on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.